So I know this is the second video within the same space, but I just had to make this video. So this video is about putting faith in God. So I believe that all the sustenance, all the good things in life, they come from God. So the more you trust in God and the more you do of good and so on, the more you should be rewarded. So if, for example, your situation is not good, then you have to be accountable, realize that what you are doing is wrong and change your ways and amend. For example, ask people for forgiveness, and show to God, why you deserve, for example, a blessing. And at the same time, I believe that the less you are attached to the worldly things, the more they will come to you actually. But the more you are attached to the worldly things, the less they will come. Let's say, for example, a few examples I can name, but these examples I don't really want to talk about. But I think that the less you are attached to the worldly things, the more that the worldly things chase you, because once you really are attached only to God, then naturally the worldly things would run to you, whether it's money, whatever. Because at the end of the day, I believe that the life is a test. It's a test from God to see whether you will win or whether you will fail, whether you will pass the test or whether you will fail the test. So that is what I believe. Now, why I believe, that's another question. I believe in God because, let's say you have a phone. The phone has a camera. Camera has how many megapixels, I don't even know. But you will never assume, looking at a phone, that it just randomly fell down from the sky, because you see the phone as it's a creation. You will automatically assume that the phone, it has a creator, because it has a designer with it. When you look at a phone, you automatically know, it was produced in such and such fabric. You will never assume it's just naturally occurred by itself. So then if we apply this logic to a phone, why we don't apply the same logic to a human being, when a human being is a much more complex creation? Let's say the human eye, just how many more times complex is the human eye than the camera within the phone, or the operating system within the phone and the human brain? How much data is within the human brain, or how much data is within the operating system? So we look at complex designs and we naturally assume they have a creator, because, and again, can something come from nothing? So science says that it's impossible that something comes from nothing. So if there was a big bang, this doesn't contradict the existence of God. God just basically means that if there was a big bang, for example, Well, there had to have been, let's say, matter and antimatter. Well, who created the matter and antimatter? Because for them to exist, to have collided, they had to have existed before. So then you can say strings, all these things. Okay, that makes sense. But at the end of the day, you have to have a uncreated thing which created something, and that uncreated thing will be God. God is uncreated and God created. So within this logic, you can rationalize that God is real, and once you rationalize that God is real, I believe that your worldview drastically changes. For example, all the worldly things that we want, we might want something and it's bad for us, or we might dislike something and it's good for us. I'll give an example. We might want to have fun, we might want to so on and so forth, but most of the time when you're having fun, even just with our friends, you don't even need to have anything that is intoxicating. Just by having fun, you can do stupid things that you may regret. So at the end of the day, it's about being logical and rationalizing everything. Now, and there's another point is there will always be, the places to have fun, they will always be open. You can always have a pizza, it will always be there. Well, maybe not always, but the option will always be there. But the option for greatness might not always be there. It might be a ticking clock. It might be a very limited time for you. An opportunity might come and very soon it might vanish, But the option of fun, it might always be there, and it might always be alluring, it might always be very interesting, whatever. But the option of greatness might not always be there. And once it's gone, it's replaced with the feeling of regret, with the thought of what if. So, in my opinion, it's better to just take as many risks as you can, because this reduces stress. Why? Because the thought of what if is gone. The thought of what if I could have is gone. If you know that you could not have, that's better than what if, or what if I could have. It's less stress, and stress is a killer of the health. You want to have as little of it as possible, because stress really does kill your hormones, really does kill your drive. Now, I'm not saying to run away from problems or difficulties. I'm saying in my opinion, it's always a good idea to not overthink, to just take action. And I think this is less stressful anyways. These are my views, these are my ideas. Now, I have procrastinated a lot. I didn't start my business yet, but I have started this YouTube channel. I have taken some action, and that's good enough. There is no reason why if I'm consistent daily, that there wouldn't be some progress. Maybe the progress will be my mental, maybe it will be clarity, something like this. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching.